Adam, will kick things off here with some big news about NBA League Pass.
I'll tell you, Matt, this has been the talker of sports betting Twitter and probably the wider betting and sports Twitters individually for the last day or so. So what we hear now from Sport Radar and MBet is that those who subscribe to NBA League Pass, and if you're not familiar with League Pass, it is the service by which you can see all NBA games that are not blacked out in your local market. And what they've added is the ability, and let's focus big time on that word ability. It is an opt-in to have betting information and to be spun out, if you so choose, to place a bet on a game within the League Pass feed. Be facilitated through DraftKings and FanDuel. It is not direct betting at the moment. It is still information that can be added. This was getting a lot of attention out there on social media as, oh man, this is just, I can't believe that the NBA is doing this and everything is being gamified and everything is getting more betting forward. And I guess I was a little bit taken back by all of that, because hasn't what we've known about the ambitions for everyone been a single screen experience for a very long time? Like, this is not new in so much as the fact that we've known that this is the goal. I think where people might have a little bit of a case is the idea that we always talked about having streams inside of a betting app, right? A betting app by which you have KYC, know your customer, where you know that that person is of age, that they are a legally allowed customer, and then you're adding the stream to that, as opposed to having the stream and then you don't know necessarily who's watching it and who is getting that information. Now, if you think that younger people are not seeing betting information, well, they've probably been seeing betting information for a long time. It is a little bit more prevalent if you do it inside the League Pass structure. So a big conversation going on around this right now, Matt, and as someone who has a regular interest in the NBA, I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals, Adam, where I'm looking at this and it is an opt-in. It is whatever. And look, I think we get to the point where we're going to get outraged by, it seems like, everything moving forward in the gaming industry until it becomes at least a little bit more normalized, because it seems like every new innovation, there's some, we're taking advantage of people, or, oh my God, we're shoving it down people's throat. We're doing all these different things like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it also just comes down to the fact that this is still fairly new to most people and is still something that is, at least somewhat of interest, because it's right out in front of you when it comes to the betting leagues themselves, the sports leagues themselves, I should say. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm desensitized to all of this, and I very well might be, and so my opinion could be very, very skewed from this. But I've been in this so long, and I've been around all of this so long, I just don't really get the uproar about everything. Like, the only thing that I really did understand a ton of, and this was something that I think you probably felt even more than me, because you were kind of entering the space at the time during the DFS wars that were going on with all of the ads, and it seemed like you couldn't do anything without there being a DFS ad kind of shoved in your face. And I actually did feel that a little bit, and I did kind of understand what was going on with all of that. But we're talking about a product that is kind of an opt-in thing, which, by the way, is layered on top of a thing with a barrier to entry as it is anyway, right? Like, League Pass just doesn't come with your cable service. Like, you have to pay to get League Pass. Like, you are a avid NBA fan if you have bought NBA League Pass. And so it's like a barrier to get to this anyway. And so I don't know. I saw it too. I just don't get the uproar. I don't really understand why everybody's all crazy about this.
I understand exactly what you're talking about with the idea of a barrier to a barrier. And I think the barrier in some cases has already been lowered and not received the same amount of scrutiny that this is. I'll give you an example. I was watching a hockey game last night, and on the intermission, there's an integration that I realize has been there all year long, in which the host on the intermission talks about, hey, here was the first period over-under before the game. And they tell you, okay, it hit or it didn't hit based on, the over or the under hit.
Right.
and here's how much money you would have won. Here's what the total is for the whole game. And they do it every game. And that is just your average over-the-air broadcast that can be picked up anywhere that I think has a lower barrier to entry. So part of me wonders if the message here was screwed up by the NBA in terms of how this was introduced. I think they probably could have gone about this in a way that said, listen, we understand that it's a changing environment and that we have different consumers who have different needs and different desires. This is something that we're offering to fill a need that we see for one specific type of consumer for the NBA.
To our most adamant fans, right? Like, exactly. Yeah, it's like hey, here's just one additional perk that we're giving to our most adamant fans, et cetera, et cetera. Because, like, it's not like Sunday Ticket, right, Adam? I mean, like, you're a huge sports fan, and like, you don't even have to be a big-time football fan to buy Sunday Ticket. But if we were to poll people as far as, like, NBA League Pass, you're either in the industry or you are a big-time NBA fan. Like, NBA League Pass must have 1/100th of the subscribers that Sunday Ticket has. I mean, it's just so for this to be tacked on to that, like, you're already targeting like a tiny little micro fraction of the fan base as it is anyway, and it's the super engaged fan who probably appreciates something like this.
Yeah, and you want to take that example, and we'll use our little microcosm in here. I obviously have Red Zone and have access to Sunday Ticket anywhere that I would need it. I have MLB Extra Innings because I am a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
And I have the NHL package through my ESPN Plus subscription. You know what the one service I don't have is? I don't have League Pass. And for me, that's because I can access NBA games through my package with YouTube TV at least 5 days a week. NBA TV has a Monday broadcast. TNT has its Tuesdays and Thursdays. ESPN has Wednesdays, Fridays, and then they have weekends as well on ABC. I have plenty of that product available to me for my needs, and I think a lot of people have that available to them for their needs. And so, to me, I think this was probably more of a messaging failure by the NBA than it is a failure of the product coming and being more integrated into something that you already mentioned is something that is a product that is largely for big-time fans in the first place.
And the kind of last and I don't know if it's least, maybe it is last and least here, is not the last but not least thing, but the last but least thing is, we're trying to get to where, and I know this seems counterintuitive what we're saying when we talk about responsible gaming stuff and all that, but at the same time, Adam, I mean, like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with trying to make things more convenient either. I don't think a convenience factor automatically means that it's bad, right? I mean, you and I in Nevada for as long as we can, and we're on these clunky apps and can't even make a bet over the internet, right? I mean, that's the other thing I don't know if people even realize about Nevada, right? Like, you guys can go to sportsbook.draftkings.com or sportsbook.fanduel.com, and you can make a bet online, which is much easier when you're looking at a nice big screen and can scroll through the menus and all that. Like, that's not even available in Nevada. And so, like, I don't necessarily think that all things that are convenient are bad either, right? And it does seem like we've gotten to that where it's like, oh, you make it easier. It's like, yeah, but at some point people will have to make their own decisions, and we do have to make sure that we're not presenting stuff in the wrong way, and there's not predatory practices and all this. This is an opt-in service and all that. Like, sometimes convenience is not a bad thing, but it seems like every time we do something that's new or convenient, we're going like, see what we're doing? Look at this. What's the next step? You're going to be able to just make bets with your eyes, like all this stuff. And it's like, nah, man, like sometimes that's just evolution.
Yeah. And I, again, to those with responsible gambling concerns, please understand that you are heard here, because what I said at the beginning still holds to the idea of, I understand that if your concern is that the stream was going into the betting app and now the betting is coming into the stream, I hear you on that. And that becomes incumbent upon the NBA. It becomes incumbent upon Sport Radar providing the numbers. It becomes incumbent upon League Pass and the sports books to make sure that if someone is clicking out and going over to place that bet, that they are still under the same level of scrutiny that they would be if they took their phone, went to the App Store, downloaded the app, and decided to play on that app. And I say that all in that long form, not to be pedantic. I think we all know that will still be the case. But it's to say that while I don't believe the responsible gambling part was messaged the way that it should, I am not of the opinion that putting this in League Pass, not on the NBA broadcast on ABC on Sundays, as an opt-in in League Pass is a major step in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I'm with you there on that one, Adam.